Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gad, your host. The viewer on the left requested this. Basically, it's a twin flames natal charts analysis. We take people's birth charts, their birth natal charts. It is your prophecy for your life on this planet. Everyone should have one, and you should all have your natal charts analyzed. Bottom line. Now, with every new order, they get a free report. Fully explains the 12 houses of the zodiac that we're using now, all the signs, things about tarot cards, archangel cards, information on there about how astrology applies to your body parts. Twin flame information on there as well. Nowadays, it's just a matter of going to like a YouTube search engine and typing in the stages of a twin flame relationship, because a lot of people don't even understand what twin flames is, and that would be the first step to try to understand what that is, because if not, you won't understand it at all. Some people are saying, oh, this is not my twin, when it is their twin. Some people are saying it's a false twin when it's not a false twin. Some people are saying their soulmate is a twin flame. Your soulmate is not your twin flame. Twin flame is twin soul. Same soul, different bodies. Soulmate is anybody that's in your soul tribe, but you may have had a certain situation with them, a certain history with them, a certain connection with them. All right. So we look at the chart on the left. So this person's ascendant. Your ascendant is also your rising sign. Your ascendant is where the sun was going over the horizon when she was born. It was in the sign of Capricorn at 1 degree. And the EP is where the sun was going re-ecliptic when she was born. It was also in Capricorn. This is your first house in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is going to be the business sign. Person is going to be somewhat mature. They may even be an old soul. A lot of times when you see a Capricorn in this location or others on the chart, you could be dealing with an old soul, someone who's lived before, but they're somewhat old soul, maybe a little mature, maybe. And Capricorn rules the 10th house. So what's ever going on in the 10th house on this chart to the left, it's also going on in the first house. There'll also be a connection to Aries, because Aries rules the first house. But now, with 1 degree, that's the magician. Now, the magician is Mercury energy. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Now, so this person might be business-minded, but they may also be good with speaking. But you just have to be careful, because remember, we're dealing with the magician, and he's got the gift to make you believe stuff that may not necessarily be true. But a magician can learn how to have his way, because he is a magician. So you have to always remember that. So just starting off here, the main thing we're going to look at is the number 22. So again, it says number 22 is the master builder who has the ability to turn the loftiest dreams into concrete realities. So it's working right with that magician. So this is like a business-minded person that can actually bring things into fruition. She has that gift. She can bring things into fruition. The east point is the heart of the sun, also considered the ego of the sun. So this person might really like to do that. Oh yeah, I want to start off, because she had sent me a email, and she was saying that she was talking about a twin flame journey, and she said it led her to going down a road, but it led to a dead end, and it was a dead end, like a dead end, but it was a graveyard. For anybody listening, I'm going to tell you, see, this is why I try to wake people up, because you're in this body, but you're in so much more. And that's why they did you a favor. When they gave you the movie The Matrix, they were trying to tell you really where you're in. So they were really trying to be honest with you. You were so much more than the physical body. We all came from Source, which is the creator, and we all have that essence. You're always going to receive messages all the time. They do not stop. And that's why I said, I think people are so desperate for love that they make the twin flame thing like so important. But if you were really just being honest, it's no different than any other messages you receive. These messages don't stop. The numerology, which you're about to see all in this reading, the numerology, the strange circle, they go on. So the reason why I'm telling people that, so that they can wake up and realize that. And then you'll come to a better conclusion concerning your twin flame. Because the conclusion I came to is my twin flame is fine. Separation is a deception. You can never be separated from your twin soul. Your soul is you. You are your soul. But if people don't realize this, they're going to worship the ideal of twin flames. And what happens when I try to teach people is this. The universe will go out of its way to put you and another person together. It might be your twin, might be somebody you work with, but I'm sure you've seen it. You know, why do we keep ending up in the same spot? Or why do we, reach for the same thing at the same time? Or why are we talking about the same thing? So you see the synchronicities. Now, what does happen with some people, they catch on. Because I know a few years ago, I took a female to dinner. But she saw it. But she was really unique, especially for this part of New Jersey where I live. She was very unique. She actually approached me. Usually in my part of Jersey, a lot of females be on some stupid stuff. But she actually approached me. She made eye contact and all that. And they were always putting us together. When I say they, I'm talking about the universe. And I said to her one day, we always end up sitting together. And she was like, yeah, I know. So she didn't play hard to get. She didn't play stupid. The stupid stuff a lot of people do. That only makes it hard, the process harder. And then I noticed she had a few of my personality traits she had. And I even said that to her, and she smiled. And so we got through the process, and it wasn't easy, because when I did ask her out or whatever, she did begin to start to play hard to get and stuff like that. And then she literally caught herself, and she looked at me and she said, you know what? We females make it so hard for you guys. Because what she was saying was, you guys go out of your way to try to impress us or take us out, and then all we do is shit on you. So she got herself together. She left for a while, came back. She got herself together. She's like, I'm ready. And, we went out and stuff like that. But with me, every time something like that happens, the female always gets fired. Every job I'm ever at, if a female starts to show interest or whatever, she always gets fired. These are all facts. But this is what she's talking about. I'm driving and I end up down a dead-end road in a graveyard. What's going on? So you have to learn. This is the process. But if you learn it, then you know not to do silly stuff like play hard to get. I would encourage people to be a little bit more honest and kind of try to say how you feel. Because then you can get over the hump of uncertainties and all that other silly stuff that causes separation. You can't be mad if somebody separates from you, or a situation that could have been nice goes to hell if you played games. And I know a few females that did that, and I finally it took me years to get to this point, but I finally had to accept that it wasn't meant to be. No matter how many times the universe brought us together and stuff like that, either one of us or both of us was so immature or so obnoxious that it wasn't going to happen. And that's a fact. But because your heart is involved, you don't want to accept simple facts. So you keep going over it and over it again. Why? So what I try to teach and everything I do out here is don't play games. You're better off. I've had situations where it looked like it was going to go left, even after I stated how I felt or the truth. And then all of a sudden, it goes right. Like the person who had no interest in me, all of a sudden is going out of their way to connect. But that's because I didn't sit there and play bullshit games. So you give them a thought, they go home, they think about it, who the heck knows, you don't know what's going on in the universe, and a person who had no interest in you, and even when you told them how they kind of felt, they really still weren't interested in you. Then all of a sudden, they're more interested in the union than you are. I've seen that too many times. So that's why I said I'm determined to teach the way I teach. I'm determined to do what I do, and I'm unshakable because I know whatever I'm saying, I've experienced it. It works. But what happens is people want it here and now. So they're so desperate for it that they'll do anything to get it. They'll say, "Oh, I'm waiting for my twin. I want to be with my twin," but they're still talking to a whole bunch of other people. And everything. So they're confused. They're playing all these games, and they're wondering why they stay in separation. So it is a little bit of maturity. So that's why I'm glad we're dealing with a Capricorn here, because the Capricorn has a little bit more maturity. And you got to realize you have to prepare yourself for it if that's what you want. You have to prepare yourself for it, and then you have to trust the universe. And then even if that person comes and they're still being a little reluctant or whatever the case might be, the more mature and stable you are, the more you're helping that person to decide what they want. Because that's what all that runner chaser dynamics is. Somebody is immature, somebody doesn't understand the process, and somebody's not being honest. That's like you're dreaming about this person, you know how you feel when that person's around, but you want to act like there's no interest, or you want to act a certain way, and that's what leads to separation. And one of the last things that female said that I took out to dinner. One day we were all sitting there together, and again, the universe put her next to me. It was me, her, and this guy. So her and the guy were really like good friends. I think they went to school together or something. So they were talking. I was in the middle, but they were talking. And then one thing she said was, she was asking him about his girlfriend or something like that. And she says, she said I thought I had a boyfriend, but he stood me up. And I knew she was talking about me. I'm right there, and she's reaching over me talking to this guy, and I had to laugh, but I didn't want her to know I was laughing when I was laughing inside my head. So, but she was unique. I'll tell you that she was definitely not a typical female around here. Around here, it's a bunch of games, immaturity, and bullshit. And you know, sometimes you got to babysit, and I don't like babysitting, but you got to babysit them. You got to tell them how you feel or whatever. You got to really babysit them. All right, so give me a moment, and we will continue. I still want to look at it. I want to look at this number 22 again. In a couple of minutes, I have to put this on pause. So 22. So they're telling her she has the gift of bringing it into fruition. Remember, Mercury, your 1 degree is Mercury energy. Your 1 degree. So Mercury energy is Virgo and Gemini is the twins. So they're letting you know that you have the power to make it happen if you want. That's why I hear a lot of females say stuff like, "Oh, I want the guy to make the move," or "I don't want him to think I'm too." Keep playing those games, ladies. Keep playing them games, and then when he ends up with somebody else, don't be mad. Don't be the bitter female at the wedding, talking trash about the bride and all kind of crazy junk, because you had the same opportunity she did, and you acted like a little kid, and you lost it, and now you're pissed off. Or the guy came for you, you acted like a jerk. Now he came for your sister or your best friend or your mom, and now you're pissed off. So that's the main thing I can try to start this video off with. If you want any type of union to work, you got to stop being so freaking immature. Deal with it. And they say 22 is like a high number, and they say most people won't reach 22 until they get older in life, because you have to. It takes maturity, just like I'm saying. But they say, because she's a Capricorn, she may be ready already. But they said when a person is immature, even if they have 22s on their chart, it'll be 4. It won't be 22. 22 is like a higher spiritual, a higher master number. But a lot of people just don't have the maturity to deal with the 22. The number 4 can be earthbound, material. It can still be hard work and practical. All right. All right. So at the end of the day, 4 is not a bad number. It's just more material, more earthly. It's a hard worker. And but 22 is for people that are like more spiritual. And 22 is a master builder number. And we may have to deal with number 4 again if we deal with Aries energy. But we'll wait to see what happens. Well, yeah. So they're kind of in her first house, they're giving her a choice. Because that is Aries' house. The first house is Aries' house. So that's what I'm trying to say. This life is not easy, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot for the good guys and the good gals. Like you can think of a cop that he stayed clean, did it the correct way, and he may be respected or remembered a little bit, but it's not going to be a whole lot for him, even to a large degree, even financially. I mean, in more recent years, and I think I watched these videos on YouTube, like newer cops starting off, they didn't want to pay him really any money. They had to really move into another township or location or borough or wherever they had to move just to make a little better. They had to move it out where they grew up and stuff. And that would have been the best place for them to be police, is where they grew up, because everybody knows them. And they would have to move out of that area and go somewhere else. So this planet doesn't always do a lot for the good guys and the good girls. And it's just so easy to do bad and seem like you get so much more. But it's one of those things. In the long run, I think the bad guys, just like that guy that just got really, that was an assassination. You can call it a murder if you want, but right out of his own house. And even though he was a mob boss, that didn't stop that crazy guy from killing him. So it's one of those things. So you're being given a choice in your first house. That is Aries, so that would be a number 4. The Emperor is a number 4 Aries card. And again, these things are done right. If you do it correctly, you could have a stable foundation. You could have the 4, which is hard work and rewards of hard work. It's also the Aries card, the Aries energy of the Emperor. And 22 is a master builder as well. But again, it's just how you use it. And it seems to be telling you it has to be based on a Capricornian. See, Capricornian is a little bit more mature. Just like some jobs, they have rules and things. And sometimes, it works better that way. Because if you don't have rules and things, sometimes people can become too loose. And a whole lot of problems come out of it. Where I work at, before you could work, they put you in training and they show you everything. Now, my particular store, it really is a very open environment. And they're just hoping and expecting that, the people they hire are, professional enough or mature enough not to just mess things up, whatever people do. So you could thank the boss for that, because the boss he's probably the best boss a person can have. So I thank God for that. But a lot of places, it could be a lot of rules, or some places there are no rules, but then there's always something going wrong because there's no discipline. So it just has to be a balance between that. The Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and it is going to be a career or rules. All right, I'm seeing if there's anything else about but they're saying number 4 can also be a disciplined number. And they say this person with the 2 or the 4, they have a great deal of professional potential. '22 also, on the tarot card, you have 21 cards in the major arcana. So when you see number 22, it's like a restart. Like you've completed the first walk and now you're starting over. So that 22 is actually the same as a 0 card. You're starting over, which means you've created your first lesson and now you're like, this is a new initiation, because the 00 is new energy, things like that. So again, it could be telling you something about your life. You might have been an old soul, and they're telling you that you completed that aspect of it in a past life, and now you're starting off new. And that's why I'm going to say it again. More and more people, even though you're in third, and it's funny, even Christians, in their Holy Bible, it tells them that you're in the world, but be no part of the world. So the world is a matrix, and the more you learn, it's actually a pitfall. And this is why in a country like this one, they kind of almost let you do whatever you want. You can almost be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. It's all right. That was a little bit of Jay-Z, right? Little Jay-Z. So, but they don't. There's gonna be discipline. I mean, there's gonna be a reason for that. You can think you can do, just like nowadays. I said, well, I'm gonna sleep with whoever I want to. Now I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I'm not gonna wear protection. But then eventually you're gonna have AIDS, and you're gonna pay for it. So you can't just do whatever you want to. They can make you believe that that's a lie. You can't just do whatever you want, and it's not all right when you get AIDS or you get shot or whatever. Like I said again, he is a big mob boss. He was a big mob boss, and it's all right. I don't even have to have no security. We got a code between the 5 families. It's a no-no to kill somebody in front of their house or their kids. I never got to worry about it, and they really believe that. But you got to believe, just because you guys believe that doesn't mean everybody was going to believe that. And like I said, you'll get that one crazy guy that's just not afraid. And that's what happens. So you always have to have protection. Like if you're in a criminal organization, you're a top boss, you definitely better have protection at all times. Go back a few years, the former leader of the Gambinos was John Gotti. He always had, and he wasn't scared of nobody. Everybody knows John wasn't scared of nobody. Everybody, like the street guys, know John Gotti wasn't scared of nobody. But the bottom line was, it's just common sense. So that's the point being made. So that's why they didn't start you off with 1 degree. They didn't start you off with 0 degree. They started you off with 1 degree, because you've already passed the initial 0 degree in a past life. What you're doing, that's what the ascendant is all about. See your first house, and you see your ascendant. You're picking up kind of like a level 2. You're picking up a level 2. Because you've already did the 0 degree in a previous life, and now you're picking up at really level 2. Okay, we'll continue. Second house is Aquarius, which means this person, because your second house is ruled by Taurus, it's about finances, possessions, and your value system. But with Aquarius there, Aquarius rules the 11th house. It's about the community, friends, association, groups. So this person, when they get money, they would use their money for the benefits of the community. Third house, Pisces. Your third house is about young ones, young education, your siblings. Your third house is ruled by Gemini, about publishing, communications, multitasking, thinking, or wit, creativity, short travel. So this will be an inspirational teacher, inspirational publisher. Fourth house is Aries, and also it's your sun sign. So they're really forcing you on Aries, and then more or less they do want you to be, because remember I told you at number 4, they want you to be Aries, and Aries at number 4 degrees would be the Emperor card, which is kind of like a ruler. So they kind of want you to be that. They kind of want you to be, Mercury is very thoughtful, good communicator. And Pallas, that asteroid that looks like a diamond, that's usually a soulmate that's kind of backing you up in that house. But just have to be careful, because your sun sign is at 28 degrees. And 28 degrees kind of means, a business-minded person, but they may be lacking balance. So you have to be mindful of that. And this is in the 4th house, which is ruled by Capricorn. It should be family. The 4th house ruled by Capricorn is teenage to adult education, land and property or real estate, family or ancestors, the heart, the vehicle or travel. And whoever raised you when you were younger, and they raised you when they were like in a mother position, that would be Imum Coeli. So this is all going on in the 4th house. But they just don't tell you a lot about it. And then linking your 4th house up to your 1st house, which is Capricornian. So it's kind of like implying that it was more of a mature or controlled or even a business atmosphere, and what would be defined as your family. And then you'll learn a little bit more when you get to your 7th house, where you see Cancer. 5th house, now there is healing and nurturing in your 5th house. But you see 12s. So 12 is going to be Neptune energy. And you can even see it in your you see it in your 12th house. There's Neptune, and it's at 22 degrees again with Sagittarius. So the way they're writing your chart is somewhat of an idealist, because that's what Neptune is. But also Neptune retrograde can be an escapist. And Neptune retrograde is not the best placement to have in house number 12. Because house number 12, that's where you want the maturity. Because house number 12, you want to look at your secrets and your past lives and what type of karma you have, and you want to deal with it. But see, you have Neptune retrograde. So this is a person who is kind of capable, but they kind of want that freedom. They want that Sagittarius, Aquarius freedom to do what they want. Even though they're capable of the Capricornian maturity. It's a part of them that is still wants to escape, doesn't want you in. Because when you got Neptune retrograde in the 12th house, that's a person that, they're not going to come forth with their secrets. They're not necessarily going to look at their what's under the cover, what's under the carpet, or in the closet. And if they do, they darn sure ain't telling you. So remember what they said. If you see 22, depending on what's there, that 22 will go down to a 4. So just because a person has 22 on a natal chart, a couple of 22s, if they're not excelling to what is a master builder, the master number, that's really a 4. Now, really, the only person that really know that is that person. But I'm just saying in the 12th house with Sagittarius, it's going to be about freedom. Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Gemini all want their freedom. So with that 22 degrees Neptune retrograde, this is a person who is going to use the 12th house for escapism, and you really want to use that 12th house for a tell-all. Pull it out so we can review it, deal with it, clean it up, reconcile, and move on with your life. Also, when you have Taurus in the 5th house, this is a person who is going to be highly sensual, because the 5th house is all about fun, childlike ways, children, things like that. But Taurus becomes very sensual. And another thing about Taurus in the 5th house is that if Taurus starts gambling, he ain't gonna stop. He's not gonna walk away. So if Taurus is gambling and he's actually winning, instead of saying okay, I'm out, he's gonna keep playing. So Taurus in the 5th house has very little self-control, and Taurus is a very sensual sign. So you're talking about whatever massages, whatever it takes. But with Taurus in the 5th house, it's really all about pleasure, having a good time, and not really contemplating what's going to happen when you're all out of money and now it's time to go home. And ironically, you see that 15 degrees, which is Capricorn. So, in my opinion, this person is going to be zoning in and out from a Capricornian, business minded, to a more freer personality. And I got Chiron, but Taurus in the 5th house is healing for them and even nurturing for them. That's it. That's the Chiron and Kyrus. Sixth house is all about Virgo energy. And there you have it. You have Vesta right there. Vesta and Virgo work together. Vesta tends to be the priestess. Anywhere you have Vesta in your chart, you have to really know how to take breaks, refresh yourself, or otherwise you may have burnout or health problems. Now, Virgo rules the 6th house of health, healing, the home, daily activities, small children, small animals, subordinates and co-workers. And with Gemini in this house, see, Gemini is also about young children. So it's kind of prevalent in this house, young ones. Gemini is also about publishing and creativity. So it might be some type of home publishing, home creation in this house. Overall, the energy of the house looks good. The moon is going to be feminine. The moon can also be internal. The moon can also be things that are hidden. But like I said, the house as a whole looks like good energy. And Venus is there too. So it's almost implying whatever's going on in the 6th house will be somewhat successful. And like I said, it's all about home and healing, but daily activities. And often the 6th house is connected to the job or the 10th house or close to it. We'll see. We'll see as things go on. All right, now the 7th house is all about relationships, business contracts, open enemies, possibly agreements, the law, courtrooms, karma. But in the 7th house, you have the family symbol. And I already said what that entails. I already explained the fourth house because Capricorn rules the fourth house. And right away you have Juno. But now you have to be careful again. See, Juno does represent this person. Juno represents who you're gonna have a serious relationship with. It's either going to be someone with Capricornian energy or Libra energy. But that 25 degrees is the law. So again, you have to be careful. But the law could mean anything. It could even mean marriage. As we continue to the eighth house. Now, it's a lot going on in the eighth house. And I used to read all that stuff. But it takes a long time. And you have to understand everybody's not everything everything in there is not gonna apply to just one person. So that's why I give everybody the free report. But you should really get to know your eighth house, what's in there as best as possible. Eighth house is ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Now in the eighth house is Leo. So that's why I'm saying with this person, from what I was seeing so far, they definitely have the capacity to be Capricornian, but they still have a lot that wants to be free, just want to have fun. They really don't want nobody questioning them. Um, rather about sex, whatever they want to do. If they got money and they just want to give it away to whoever, the community or whoever, or somebody in need, they really don't want to. They don't want to have to explain that. If they go out gambling and they walk in with a large sum of money and they walk out with hardly nothing, like they really don't. I mean, they'll go through the motions as, oh, I messed up, or somebody saying, you really messed up because you had money, you gambled it away, and they'll act like, oh, yeah, I did, but they really don't give a fuck. Like they really don't care because they wanna have fun, they wanna party. And even when you see Gemini's the same way. Gemini just wants to go. Gemini don't want nobody stopping or trying to go deep. But that's why Venus is there, because Venus loves the fun. And whenever you're dealing with the moon, you're dealing with the feminine aspect, the emotions. So when you get it, when you get into now when you get into the seventh house, now this is where your chart gets a little. When you get into the eighth house, this is when your chart gets a little problematic. So that's what I was trying to say. Like you have people that can outwardly see, because that's their first house, and that's how people see you outwardly. They see you, oh wow, she's very professional and stuff like that. And then they got another side that's like, whoa, what the hell? What happens in wherever stays in wherever. So when you get to the fifth house, it's like really off the hook. When you see Mars, Mars can be somebody who likes to, they can be a very intense person, or they can just be somebody who likes to argue a lot, or depending on where Mars is, it could be a highly sexual person, because Mars is really a highly sexual sign, depending on where it's at on your chart. Now, in the eighth house, they even call the eighth house the house of sex. So she really has to get familiar with everything that's in there. You have the free report to help you. Now the vertex means you may find yourself in some. Well, the vertex is it's showing you something in your life that's gonna be fated or destiny, but it's also showing you a significant meeting in your life, or a significant breakup in your life, or it might be showing you your soulmate or your twin soul. And see, Leo, yeah, it's kind of sweet how they did it. See, your number 11 in your 8th house with Leo, that would definitely be the strength card. Rider Waite, number 11. And that's the divine masculine, the female, and the divine feminine, the female, and the divine masculine. So here you see they're going to have some type of sexual connection. True North Node is where you should be in this life. Leo in the 8th house. And your True North Node is 27 degrees, which is the diplomat. Now, the funny thing about 26 degrees, it's kind of dealing like sometimes we call it the voice of God, but more or less it's gonna make you consider the spiritual. Because remember, some people see sex as spiritual. And the 8th house is spiritual, mystical, esoteric, metaphysical. You name it. The 8th house has it all going on. Now, to fully understand this house, which I think I did a great job, but to fully understand it online, you want to be able to find a website that says Mars in Leo in the 8th house. Look at this. Lady Diana had Mars in the 8th house. See my point? And she wasn't letting nobody tell her what to do. Not the queen, not her husband. They said when she died, she was with a boyfriend. Her boyfriend was like from Arabia. Her boyfriend was a Muslim, and they were saying that was like a hit. Like they were saying that she was embarrassing the throne of England so much that her own family had it killed and stuff. But you can look that kind of stuff up in online. But yeah, I was I was there. I was young, but she didn't take no shit from nobody. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, because you see it all through the chart. So let's look at this a little bit. But this is what we're gonna do, because online they usually don't like to give you three. Like they'll give you Mars in the 8th house, or they'll give you Leo in the 8th house, but they don't like to give you Mars and Leo in the 8th house. And what happens if you keep looking for it, you might find a thread. And I hate using threads because you don't know who's giving that information, and I don't like to use it. But we know Leo loves to have sex. Leo deals with children, childlike. Leo is very bold, again, romantic, sexual, very creative. And the 8th house is a very creative house too. So you already know what Leo is going to be. Leo can be loyal, but it could also be egotistical. So you really want to know about Mars in the 8th house, because all Leo's going to do is be Leo. So just give me a moment because I like to take this stuff and put it on my Word document, and that way I can make it larger so I can see it better. So give me a moment as I do that. All right, I'll be with you. Like I said, I'm just copying and pasting. Whenever you have Taurus in the 5th house and Leo in the 8th, that's usually a very highly sexual person. All right, give me a moment. Still copying this. All right, I'll be with you momentarily. So they're saying Mars in the 8th house is one of the most potent placements for that fiery planet. Why? Because Mars used to rule Scorpio. Now Mars rules Aries. So again, it's going to be highly sexuality. But again, because it's Mars aggression, it could cause problems. But the way I see it like, I mean, if you love having sex, I mean, I think like Leo in the 8th house with Mars would be great. . . . . But again, this person is saying Mars usually brings a violent death, which happens rather suddenly. So the person that requested this, she should listen, because you got to remember, sometimes we get those warnings, you know, graveyard stuff and like that. Like for me, I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't really twitch, you know, because I know you're gonna get wet. You're always gonna get some type of warning or some type of message. But at the same time, my my walk has been different because it started off maybe spiritual, you know, God and Jesus, so to say, and then it continued to grow to metaphysics and all kind of stuff. So I don't really fear a lot of that stuff. Like when you read the Bible, you hear David saying, "Oh yeah, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I should fear no evil." And when you read your Bible, you see God sending people into the wilderness with beasts out there and the devils out there, but they can't be afraid. Or God throwing people into the deep, and they're not supposed to be afraid. So for me, it's a little bit different because what I've learned, your worst enemy is fear. And again, if you think of a movie called Silence of the Lamb, the reason why the serial killer, never killed Jaleese, I think that was her name, the officer, played by Jodie Foster, because Jodie was never really scared of him. It was a couple of times he kind of shook her up because he was a nut job. But she was so straightforward and so pure that he couldn't kill her. So what I'm trying to tell this person is you have to be careful because there's a lot that goes on. And see, sex, as much as people love to have it, but sex is also like magic. And you have to be careful. And that's why the 8th house is connected to hell, Hades, graveyards. That's why you have to really read it to get to know it. The worst mistake people are making, they think, well, I don't want to look at it because it scares me. Or I don't want to talk about what's going on in my 12th house. I don't want to deal with it. And they think just by walking away from it, everything's going to be okay. But I'm telling you, everything is not going to be okay. Because first off, as far as your personal healing, you need to deal with the shit that's in your life and in your chart. Second off, when it comes to judgment, you're still going to be judged for it. Even if you're acting like I said, I could sit here all day and say, I'm the most beautiful guy in the world. All the women want me. And I got nothing to worry about when it comes to the ladies. Now, I might really believe that, but that doesn't mean they do. So you got to find out what's going on. You got to find out the reality. The reality is not the matrix. The matrix is there to deceive you. That's why matrix. Tricks. It's not there to tell you the truth. It's there to deceive you. Make you believe in false realities and bullcrap. Just like somebody talking about some fool talking about, oh, Jesus died for my sins. Not if you keep practicing them. And then they say, oh, I know I have a good heart. What does that mean? That's because you have a good heart. And that's like me saying I'm the most beautiful guy in the world. That's just your opinion. I mean, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hold weight. None of that does. That's why when you see Mars, when you see a Neptune and stuff like that, especially where it's at, that's somebody that's deceiving themselves. And they're not dealing with the reality of it. So sometimes the universe will try to wake you up by sending you to a graveyard or a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's a wake-up call. Sometimes if you're doing what you're supposed to, you can get death messages from the universe, like the evil. Because it's just like your neighborhood. In your neighborhood, it's actually good people, okay people, and some really bad people there. You may not know who they are, but they're still there. That's why I say people have to be very careful because they think, oh, I live in a great neighborhood, and then they're out there jogging by themselves at 10 o'clock at night, pitch black. It's a great neighborhood, but people are so crazy, and you don't know what people are really thinking about. You don't know what the heck is going on in their houses and stuff. And that's why a lot of times you see a lot of these people get busted by police or other people that are monitoring the internet and monitoring, and you find out, wow, I've never knew that person was like that. So you don't know what you're doing. So you got to always be aware of that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If this guy had followed what I just said, he'd still be alive. Because you're in a business of criminals and murderers. Why do you think you can't get killed? That's just foolish. That's like you working in a laboratory with diseases and everything, and you think you can't catch one, or you take silly risk that don't need to be taken. I don't feel like putting my gloves on. I just don't want to wear my gloves today. I don't feel like putting those gloves on today. I just want to. I've been here long enough. I can handle. I know. And then you know, he lost both of his hands and stuff, and then he's dead. His whole body turned blue. Lost both of his hands and he's dead. And his whole body turned blue. You gotta understand where you're at, and then when you're in the matrix, you gotta know that. Not telling people to be paranoid, but you do have to know that. You have to be awake, because when you realize where you're at, all it takes is a second. It might not even be anybody in your neighborhood. You might be driving. Let's just say you got one of them neighborhoods where there's like a long whatever out there to run. And you go out there 10 o'clock at night, pitch black, with the tight shit on the women wearing all that shit. Jogging by yourself. All it gotta take is one guy hanging out. Might be some drunk guy in a car or whatever. A couple of younger guys in a car. Partying or whatever. Hanging out. And see you. And the rest is history. Next thing they know, your carcass, your dead carcass, your raped dead carcass is found back in the thing. So when you're aware where you're really at, and stop taking stuff for granted, you think a little bit more seriously. Maybe if you jog, you make sure friends with you. Or maybe if you jog, you don't be so provocative with the stuff you put on. Maybe if you jog, you make sure you have a phone or something, ready to hit 911 or something. You take precautions. Like, what are the first thing you do if you're did you get the license plates? If you got your cell phone on, it just takes a matter. 911, shoot that license plate in. And therefore, you're okay. And if somebody did do something to you, the cops will be able to find them. Because otherwise, you got nothing. And it's going to happen so fast. And if you do live to tell the story, you're going to be saying, you know, I wish I had my phone. I wish I had looked at the license plate. I wish. But it don't have to be I wish. All you got to do is think right now. That's why I be telling people, get your natal charts, because it's all there. It's all there. And then you can prepare for it. Just like this guy that killed this mob boss. They said they knew he was crazy. Okay, so if you know the guy was crazy, you try to get as far away from the guy as possible. And if he comes not, if he rams into your vehicle, that's already a warning. Why is he out there? How is it that he just happened to be out there in front of your house? And how is it that he just happened to ram into your vehicle? So ain't no way in the world I'm coming out that house. That's not being scared. That's being smart. I mean, you gotta be pretty courageous if you're a mob boss. So nobody's saying you're scared. Like, nobody called John Gotti scared because he had bodyguards. It's people trying to kill you. That's common sense. So I hope if she learns anything from this video, she'll hear what I'm trying to tell you. So when you do end up in stuff like that, graveyards and stuff like that, it could be kind of like a warning. But what I'm trying to tell you was, even if you were squeaky clean, you're still going to have weird shit coming all the time. Blackbirds and black cats, you name it, it's still going to come. But you don't have to help by whatever decisions that people make, or just doing reckless, what I call reckless behavior. Like I said, if you go out, you say, oh yeah, we're going out, we're going to be drinking tonight and partying, and you go out dressing provocative. What do you think's going to happen after a few beers, a few shots or whatever? For everybody. And that's like the flirt. Oh, I'm just flirting. I didn't mean it. He's not going to care once he's got that alcohol. You were advertising, and now I'm going to cash in. And nobody cares. And like I don't know how much news you guys watch, but you'll hear about situations like that. Like, it'll be like, somebody just send me an email what happened to them. 15 or 30 guys at a party. And it's straight up rape. And hopefully some of them got caught. And hopefully some of them went to jail or whatever. But I doubt if they're going to get all 30 guys. So what was supposed to be a night of just going out having fun, being a little flirtatious or whatever else, turned into something very brutal. Maybe she even got murdered. So I'm going to read it again. Mars usually brings a violent death, which happens rather suddenly. Now they say the death could be by a sharp object. That could be a knife or something. Or a broken glass, like if you get in a car accident. A bullet. An accident of war. So they say this person will experience at least one near-death experience. The chart owner will get transformed, usually in a very positive way. So that might be the push you need to get to the 22. No, but there's a reason why your 22 is in your 12th house. See, your 8th house and your 12th house are a lot alike. It's just that your 8th house is more about endings and hopefully the maturity or the desire to reckon the secrets, to deal with it. So it says after you have that experience, and you may have already had it, after you had this type of traumatic experience, the gates to the other realms will permanently be more open than previously, and it may even grant psychic powers. And again, wherever you see Sagittarius on your chart and Neptune and a few other spots, even to some degree Pisces, that's also psychic powers. So they say you might be trying things too hasty. You might jump into things where you're not ready enough because this is because of Mars. But remember, Mars and Leo could be the same thing. But they both gonna go diving in. And Leo can be real naive. Because remember, Leo is like it represents children. So even a Leo could be childish at times, really very innocent, without really counting the cost. So they're saying be careful of supernatural attacks or experiments that go wrong. And they say it again, your sexual life will be more than active. Now, it makes me laugh. Not laugh, but it's what did I tell you? I told you, you don't understand. If you don't understand sex magic. See, I keep trying to tell you guys, Matrix, Mars, magic. It's all M.A. So again, they said Mars position in the 8th house, because they call the 8th house the house of sex, death, rebirth. So he's going to have this strong desire for all kind of sex, all kind of experimentation, all kind of experiences in bed. Now, speaking about that, Selena Gomez has a new song out, and she's in a big, big bed. Now, I'm kind of happy for her because she's been through a lot. She's been through a lot of health concerns and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to see her in that video because she's bouncing around and stuff. No, but she needs to have fun because she's been through a lot. So they say for this person with Mars in Leo in the 8th house, sex is very important for them to recharge them and to let go all culminated negativity. And they say they will like it violent and will have an aggressive attitude over it. Whip me and get harder. So this is what, but I'm telling anybody that's into this. This is the whole purpose of why I do these videos. Just look into it so that you're safe at all times. That's all. Like I said years ago, how many guys you know when I said Robert Chamberlain or something? How many you know who I'm talking about? He became a hero way, way, way back in the day. How did Robert Chamberlain become a hero? Let me pick it up. How many know about Robert Chamberlain? You old timers. Robert Chamber, was it Robert Chambers? Robert Chamberlain. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. Preppy murder. Robert Chambers, Central Park, Preppy murder. Robert Emmett Chambers, nicknamed Preppy Killer by the media, is an American criminal. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the death of 18-year-old Jennifer Levine, whom he killed in New York City Central Park during the early morning. There he goes, crazy looking. Just like this guy. He looks just like the guy who shot that he looks just like the guy who shot that mob boss. And then, let me tell y'all what happened for y'all that don't remember. During the early mornings of August 26, 1986. Now, there was a female 2 or 3 years ago, same thing, jogging and jogging, you know, looking all beautiful and sexy, jogging all by herself, jogging all in the back in the woods, which, you know, and then she gets raped and killed. And that was in August. And that was like 2 years ago. And she had a psychic 8th house thing going on. She's on you. If they didn't take her video down, she's on YouTube talking about her death and shit, saying she's an angel and she would be killed. And that's what happened. So you 8th house people have a lot of power. But that's the whole purpose of you getting your natal chart done, so you can take some precautions. Nobody's not telling you guys not to have fantasies. Nobody's not telling you not to have all that freedom and that stuff you want. But what we are telling you is don't be so stupid that you end up dead. That's all we're telling you. And they get mad. How can you get mad at somebody trying to keep you alive? It's so stupid. But when you're in a matrix and you become a robot to this garbage, you forget who you are. And the universe will send somebody like me to try to do anything I can do reasonably shake you up. So that 5 years from now, you'll be saying, hey, that nutty guy on YouTube kept me alive. And don't feel bad. A lot of people kept me alive. I used to be crazy. Hey! All right. So now, what else am I looking for? So anyway, after he got convicted, you know, because they convict you, but then they send you to jail later sometimes. So after he got convicted, he was throwing a party with all these people that were like his friends, and they had him on like tape, like on video, with all these other people, like making fun of it, like choking people and shit, like choking females and stuff. So it shows you how weird people are. And they know that whatever happened with him and that female, she's murdered now. You know, freaky sex, beat me, whipped me, choked my neck. But she ain't coming back. She's dead. But after that, he throws a party with all these people, and they're still goofing off about it. That's crazy. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, and you best believe a lot of those people that were goofing off about it, they probably knew the female that got killed by him. That's why I said, that's why we trying to tell people they get mad at me because they feel like I'm crashing their party. No, I'm trying to keep you alive. Do you know how many emails I get from females that didn't listen and now they're telling me I should have listened to you because I got raped or I did this, I got raped? All right, give me a moment. Just one moment, please. All right, let's continue. So they said the native's desire will be very strong, and all relationships will be of a passionate nature. So they're saying, but this person runs a risk of being a victim of abuse, and it's usually going to be of a sexual nature. Now, if anybody's listening and that might be you, I'm still going to tell you, like I always tell you, the best thing to do is be honest about it, and get the help and the healing you need. The worst thing you can do is keep on trying to cover it over, don't deal with it, and keep it in your subconscious mind because you're keeping it alive. You have to deal with it. Might be a professional you can go to wherever you need to go, but the main thing you have to get it out and start to deal with it. You're on a crazy planet. Crazy things are happening. Like I said, the truth of the matter is, it's a lot of wicked spirits on this planet, and depending on where you're at, they're constantly trying to get you to let them in, let them in, let them in. And a lot of females get turned out because they like some guy, but he's a weirdo. But then he starts to talk to them and gets them to start to agree to it, and then they get freaked. They get freaked out. And a lot of people wonder, how is that possible? And they all go, well, she must have had that kind of stuff in her to do that. And I'm saying, no, she didn't. She's just trying to impress him. Because if she had that kind of stuff in her, she would have been doing some of that stuff already. Like, let's take Bonnie and Clyde. Was Bonnie robbing anybody before Clyde? Was Bonnie murdering anybody before Clyde? So it was her love for Clyde or wanting to keep up with Clyde that led her to become who she was. A lot of women will change who they are just for some guy. And I'm going to say it again. If it's dangerous, that's a big-ass mistake. Because what you guys got to understand is no matter what you think you're doing, sooner or later that party is going to come down on you. You would have been better off getting a nerd and leading a quiet life because at least you still be alive and at least you would still have your freedom. But you meet some guy and he introduces something to you, or some female, she introduces something to you, and now you're doing some stuff you never did before, but maybe you kind of like it or whatever, or you're doing it because they do it and you're doing it with them and it feels good, and now your whole life is fucked eventually. Oh, that's what I was looking for. The female that got killed recently, like about 2 years ago, I think it was. Very beautiful woman. All right, yep. Let me see. It might have been 2016. Because they arrested the guy. They arrested the guy on February 5th, 2017, which means he killed her. Because I know he killed her on August 2nd. So he killed her on August 2nd, 2016. And it's sad. This is what I'm trying to tell you women. It's sad because you guys work so hard to look good. You know what I'm saying? This woman was extremely beautiful. And she had a career in movies. She was making movies and stuff. She had so much to offer. So don't let your freaky side get you killed and shit. Everybody's got a freaky side to some degree. And the whole time, see, she had an 8th house connection, and she had a very mystical connection about herself. But so did her family, because her family turned to psychics to get the guy. All right, so I believe her short film is still here. And there's a picture of her jogging. It's on True Crime Daily. It says CWD exclusive video, New York jogger, moments before her attack. But see, at that time it was broad daylight though. But you just gotta, what I'm trying to tell you is whether it's broad daylight or night, crazy people are crazy people. And if a guy sees you and whatever takes over, he's still gonna try. He's gonna try. And these men don't see you as a woman. See, what I'm trying to tell you, because a lot of people say, well, look how she's dressed. But that doesn't give you a right to rape her. You know, I don't care how she's dressed. That doesn't give you a right to rape her. But that's how people see it. Oh, look how she's dressed. Blah, 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 blah. Like she deserved. No, she didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves that. Okay, so the film she made is called The Paradox. And it's still on YouTube in Spanish. And in that movie, she predicts her own death. Plus, she's saying that she cuts her skin and stuff. Because I knew people used to do that. So it looks like they took her film off YouTube. And it's funny, somebody else made this a thing called The Return. I'm gonna check that out. Okay, I got it. All right, so listen, if you want to see this movie with her, where she's predicting basically her own death, the movie's 11 minutes 56 seconds. It's called Paradox, a sci-fi short film, and then it says Infinite Illusion. And the person who recorded it or has it, they have a Hindu name. See, this is the mysticism I keep telling you guys about. It's the Ma, because the Hindus know about Ma, but that's Matrix, Mob, Mafia. The YouTube channel is Prajesh space Trivedi. And if you type in Paradox after that, you should be able to see the movie. That's why I tell anybody that hears me, nothing but love for y'all. I spend my whole life, I sacrifice my whole life in service to other people. But you got to be a little bit wiser, especially now, because we live at a time where people really don't give a fuck. And once you're dead, all they can do is investigate, but you're still dead. You ain't coming back. Not in that body, not in that life. So you got to be a lot smarter. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? What's the, is there any danger? What are you guys planning on doing? Where are you going? Are you going to be safe? What do you, like I said, what are you going to do? Like, what are you wearing? What would happen if this happened? You got to think shit like that. Like I said, it's crazy shit. Because you live in a crazy ass world where, like she said, she's driving and somehow she ends up down a road and now she's in front of a graveyard. You're on a crazy ass planet. So that's like you go out. You might be dressed a certain way and the weather's nice. So you say, oh, I don't need a jacket. And you're looking all good. And you think you're going to be around a lot of friends, nothing to worry about. But it could even be your car might break down somewhere. And guess what? You go to pick up your phone and the fucking phone ain't ringing. The phone don't work. The battery's going. Some crazy shit. Or you're around something and it just don't work. It ain't working. And all I do is study. I hear stories like that all the time because I know what's behind it. You got to understand, it's not just humans on this planet. It's all kind of stuff on this. You got spirits, you got all kind of stuff here. And you got to be aware of that. Because the more you're aware of the stuff that I'm trying to teach you, you'll lessen your chances of being one of these people, another statistic. Alright, I checked it out, so that ain't a film. I think that was the name of it though. Like I said, because of the situation, I think they took it down. But I did see a Spanish person who I think still has it up. Yeah, so this is it. But so it says Technology of Federation Reptilian. That's the name of the YouTube channel, Technology of Federation Reptilian. But the reason why it's sad because they published it on August 6, 2016, which was four days after she died. Now I keep telling we keep seeing that number 4 even on this chart. So I try to tell people that's how spirit talks. See, I'm more interested in shit like this because the Matrix ain't shit. I've been on this planet long enough to tell you the Matrix ain't shit. And people will sell their soul for that, but that ain't shit. You want to tap into something that's real. What I tap into, all the stuff I tap into is eternal. I don't be worrying about nothing. So anyway, the female, the jogger who was killed on August 2nd, 2016, this is her movie. And it starts off saying, in Christianity, Lucifer refers to devil or Satan. Lucifer was cast into hell because he acted against God's wishes. So it just shows you where her mind is at. So wow, you're young and beautiful. Why are you worrying about Lucifer or Satan? But you don't know what people. This is that past life stuff. So then she says the name Lucifer means morning star. He's also known as the gorgeous angel. And I guess she's kind of comparing herself to that. Anything which tempts a man to sin in the eyes of God is said to be an act of Satan. Therefore, it is evident that Lucifer has a beautiful yet unholy poetic origin. Now, she was killed by allegedly a black drug dealer or something, but he kind of he confessed a lot of stuff. But okay, I keep like I used to hang out with a dude named C-Mac. C-Mac had a lot of clientele, but sometimes they don't want to tarnish the victims because I kind of agree because he still shouldn't have murdered her, whatever happened. But I think there was a connection between those two, whatever it may have been. And when you see somebody doing a movie like this, talking about the Satan and Lucifer and all that shit, it's something going on inside that person. So I think them two had a little bit more. He still was a weirdo. I don't know what it was. But either way, what happened was normally her father jogs with her. So that particular day he chose not to jog with her. But I think what may have happened, she may have contacted this dude for whatever, for supplies or whatever the heck might be. And whatever happened. Alright. So I'm looking at her movie because she did a lot of writing in this movie about Lucifer. Before the movie started. And it is called The Paradox. But I think they probably took it down. But it's still up, but it's on in Spanish. It's like a Spanish Technology of Federation Reptilian. It starts off with a guy with a gun sitting there. And then you see her and she's like cut. Later on in the movie, you're going to see her cutting her wrist. So y'all got to understand another thing too. Don't even feed into this type of energy unless you're willing unless you're ready for the whole thing. So you can't toy with shit like the 8th house. You can't fuck around unless you're ready for the whole thing. And if you're into freaky shit where somebody's beating you or some shit or grabbing you, you got to make sure that person ain't crazy. See, and then in the movie at time 346, you see her looking at a razor blade, getting ready to cut herself up with it. Yeah, because in that movie she is saying she's an angel and stuff, and then she is cutting her flesh with the razor. So that's why I say don't even invite that energy into your life. You just got to be very careful. And just so you'll remember, when I first started reading about Mars in the 8th house, basically said, give me a moment. One of the most potent placements for the fiery planet. And then it went on to say Mars usually brings a violent death, which happens rather suddenly. So they said this person may have quarrels over an area of money, because the 8th house deals with other people's money. Like sometimes this person may be business minded, but it may be business minded in a sexual nature, as far as like sex for pay, anything like that, play for pay. And they said Mars in the 8th house can be a financial partner or whatever, marriage partner, but they have financial problems, which causes tension inside the marriage. So to say, if you get a loan or something, you might have trouble paying it back, kind of mess up your credit, because all this stuff is in the 8th house. That's why I said you got the free report. Make sure you study so that you know what's in the 8th house, because this is how you know how to prepare for it. See, like I said, a lot of people you come to this planet or whatever, you're born here, and a lot of people think it's just gonna be easy. This shit is not supposed to be easy. None of this shit. And they, oh, where's my twin flame? You think it's just gonna be a love story, and everything's gonna be no. Everything's gonna be hard. Get used to it. Like get used to fighting. Like everything's gonna be hard. But the more when you wake up and realize that, I guarantee you'll live longer because you'll stop looking for a way out. And that's why when you see Neptune retrograde, that's an escapist. He's trying to looking for a way out. And the moment that's why I said if you're listening to what I'm saying, just like I said, like her, if I'm gonna go jogging, you know what? It's not even worth it. I don't care if it's broad daylight. I'm not going. I'm not jogging like that. You know, because it ain't worth it. Because it's a shot. You might do it 9 times and nothing happens, and then at one time, some psychopath or something, some crazy shit happens. So you got to really think about that. That's why I said it's being sexy is one thing, but when you're putting like I don't think there's any sexy in the world where I would put my person in harm's way. It's not even worth it. You're being sexy to somebody who's looking at you like you're not even human no more. You're an object that they're gonna try to get somewhere where nobody can hear you screaming, and they're gonna do whatever they want to you, and then they're probably gonna kill you because that way you can never identify them, and you'll still be dead and they'll still be alive. And you better hope that somebody comes up with some DNA or some scientific way to find them. And they might catch them, but it might be like 20, 30 years later. Like, what the fuck? You're still dead. So you got to think like that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bust your bubble, but you got to, at least you'll be alive. So if I bust your bubble and you're still alive, then I did my job. Ain't nobody chaining me nowhere. Ain't nobody beating me nowhere. I'm not with that bullshit. Now listen, this is a true story. I was dating this female a long time ago. I was dating this female, and she said to me one time, she said, you know, I like to be chained. You know, I like to be chained up and stuff like that. And so I wasn't with it. I just wasn't with it. Cause see, I'm a black dude in America. I don't need that fucking aggravation, my nigga. I'm not trying to get locked up. So I wasn't with it. So but I got a crazy sense of humor. So she's talking about, while she's talking to me, inside my head I'm saying to myself, you mean to tell me you will let somebody put you in handcuffs or some shit like that? And I'm just laughing inside of my head while she's talking, and she's trying to convince me to try it or whatever. So then she said to me, she said it'll be fun. You know, she said it'll be fun. So what I said to her, I said, maybe not for you. I was like, maybe not for you. Let me put some handcuffs on your ass. It won't be fun for you. It'll be for me. So she just looked at me and shit. But she never brought it up again because I didn't want her to bring it up ever again. Don't ask for something that you might get. Now, again, like I said, this is why you have to understand the eighth house. It deals with a lot of stalking, obsessive feelings. So they said this person might be very jealous, very obsessive. But like I said, but a female like that, she'd be very bold. Like y'all saw Fatal Attraction. See that's that Mars in the eighth house type shit. And Leo, because that's a chick that'll do anything. You know, your girl, like let's just say y'all go to a party and this female's interested in you. Your girl might get up and go to the bathroom, and like right in the party, she'll come up to you and try to do something to you sexually or whatever really quick, even though she knows your girlfriend's in the bathroom, because she knows that's gonna turn you on and that's gonna make you, like I said about sex magic, that's the attraction, magnetism, and allurement. That's why I keep telling you guys about the word MA, magnetism, magic, matrix. So again, this is anything, and when a person wants something bad enough with Mars and Leo in the eighth house, they'll do anything to get it, even lie or whatever. But like I said, there's so much in that eighth house, so you have to read it. These articles are not going to cover everything. And Mars, the eighth house is also about possessive. So these people can be very possessive, and whatever. So it's a lot of manipulation here too. A lot of people don't realize how like a lot of these people are, because they could be master manipulators. So you may think you got a great, oh, I got a good person in my life, I got a good girl or some shit like that, but she's only doing that stuff to manipulate you. Like she's making you think you're in control when she's in control. That's how that shit goes. Because if you were to stop and look, you're doing everything she tells you to. So she's the one in control, not you. Or vice versa, could be a guy doing it. So they say this person might become so jealous that they actually become violent. And they said, see, now we go back to your first house because now it's getting scary. Now they're talking about Mercury, and they're saying that this person has a connection to Mercury, they might even be a thief. And you got to understand what the word thief means, because it could be a whole lot of stuff. I feel like anybody lying is a thief. I think anybody that's even lying to you is a thief. Because what is it? A thief takes something that doesn't belong to them. And somebody lying to you is trying to say you some bullshit that don't exist. So they're saying this person is the type of person that will put their hand inside the jar. You know what that means, right, boys and girls? When your mother tells you keep your hands out the freaking jar, but you're putting your hand in it anyway. So they're telling the person, if you have Mars and Leo in the eighth house, you better learn how to Tame that energy. All right, so that's one website. Now I'm looking at the next one. So they say this person, now this is the second website about Mars in the 8th house. It still says it could be very dangerous. They could have some type of death struggle. So they say even if this person can be very courageous, they're still going to feel overpowered by a fate that is cruelly intervening. What does that mean? That's like I said, you're going somewhere and you end up on a dead-end road in front of a graveyard. That's fate talking to you. But what I'm trying to tell her is, don't be scared. Be smart. Be smart, ladies. That's all. So they say these are the words that are tagged for 8th house Mars: drama, crisis, trauma, death, betrayal, intimate relationships played with psychological baggage that we bring from the past and into our love lives. So they say the 8th house is a water house because it's ruled by Scorpio. So there's going to be deep feelings and unconscious mind. But that's the 12th house too, ruled by Pisces. But I'm telling you, the best thing you can do in your 8th house and 12th house is deal with it and bring it out in the open so that you can get healing. Like I said, if you say, well, I got Mars and Leo in my 8th house, I'm extremely freaky. Well, just make sure you're freaking and freaky with somebody who's not crazy, you know? Because freaky and crazy might not go too well. Just slow it down a little bit. I know Mars makes you impatient, but slow it down. Who am I messing with? What are we gonna do? How is this gonna work itself out? Mars can act on debris in the unconscious, but that's why you have to start to learn how to know who you are. So you have to know your unconscious and subconscious mind, because that stuff is gonna be coming out. Like I said, I work around people. I used to see that shit all the time. I remember one location. I was way out of town. I'm half asleep. I'm not a morning person. I'm like in telemarketing. I'm way out of town at this telemarketing job. I'm relatively new, and it's this one female there, tight jeans on. Everything's tight on her and stuff. So she's sitting like a couple of seats away from me, but I don't know if she did it unconsciously or whatever. But she just started doing a few things with that body that kind of, and that was not a good feeling. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that was not a good feeling. Please don't do that. So you got to know the unconscious mind. And then it's funny because then when they do it, then they act like, do you have a boner? Yeah. What do you think I got over here? Would you stop doing that, please? Please. Oh, you're disgusting. No, I don't think I'm disgusting. I think I'm human. So again, whether she did that shit deliberately or unconscious or whatever was the purpose of doing it, it is what it is. All right, again, conflicts with personal relationships, shared resources, wills, legalities, fights about intimacy, sex, and emotions. So they're saying all this can go on with Mars in the 8th house, but it's still so much more. So make sure you look at your report because that lists everything. So it said this person will be ready to go to war. The 8th house can have many embattled couples. Material troubles of all kind. And they said troubles like those are the ones that stay behind closed doors, like violence, sexual exploitation, difficult family relations. So they say you're going to have to deal with betrayal, violence, love, hurt, pain, loss, abandonment, destruction, separation, loneliness. A lot of psychological or subconscious activity. This is the most dangerous elements of life. Fights for independence or fights for boundaries or respect boundaries. Threats, manipulations, power control issues. Maybe even repression. But Mars will tend to explode at some point. Mars in the 8th house has a powerful link to sexual abuse, painful issues for children or childhood. So with Mars in the 8th house, sex will have to have some type of intensity behind it, power behind it, passion, conquest. Even like I said, animalism, freaky type sex, animalistic type sex. But they said it could also be criminality, rape, and brutality. Lady Diana had Mars in the 8th house and died in a fatal car accident that many people say was a hit or an assassination, that it wasn't just an accident. They said a lot of people were getting angry with her because she was making the Queen of England look bad, and she was dating a Muslim, and she was a married woman she was married to the throne really. So they got rid of her. Allegedly, that's what's said. John F. Kennedy was assassinated on a car journey with the same position, because John F. Kennedy also had Mars in the 8th house. Marilyn Monroe also had Mars in the 8th house, and they say that she was actually murdered, and they made it look like a suicide. But Marilyn Monroe, whose real name was Annie Mae, she revealed sexual abuse early in childhood. But anybody listening, I'm going to tell you again, do not look at this like a victim, because when you look at it like a victim, you act like it's nothing you can do about it, and you just keep on going down the same road of self-destruction. So I'm not sure what her name was. I think it was Annie Mae though. But who knows? Let me try Wikipedia. That's not her name. That's her career name, but that's not her real name. Norma Jean, okay. Norma Jean Mortensen. See, but you can't get rid of the Moore out of her name. She called herself Marilyn Monroe. That was her entertainment name. But even Mortensen was her last name. Still got the Moore. Norma Jean Mortensen was her real name. And I guess when I'm thinking about Annie Mae, I'm thinking about Ike and Tina Turner. Annie Mae? With his crazy ass. Ike was a crazy one. As far as violence is concerned, Ike Turner made Robert Kelly look like a Boy Scout. All right. Now, they talking about she died from an overdose. No, she died because she was killed. They have proof. They said at least 2 times an ambulance was called to that house. And both times she was alive. And both times the people there sent the ambulance back. And then finally, the 3rd time the ambulance or whatever got called, she was dead. Marilyn Monroe was definitely was murdered. So you'll have a lot of fated events, and see that's why I said, because you got the vertex there too in your 8th house, and that's fated events or destiny. So you got to be very careful of that Leo energy, and maybe Aries as well. So they say Mars in the 8th house, you're gonna have the occult, mysticism, esoteric, spiritual. Now, a person that's learned how to deal with their Mars and Leo in the 8th house, they can actually help others heal and things like that. Now, this is the 3rd website. Now, they're saying a lot, but it's basically stuff we already looked at. All right. And that's your true north node. But ironically, so that's the point. So 27 degrees is the diplomat. So once you master the 8th house, you could actually teach others. See, like I said, you could open up your own school. You'll be paid though. See, that's the good thing. You can open up your own school or whatever, or you can just start on YouTube. You think I'm joking? I'm dead serious. You will be paid, and then you'll still be alive. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, like, they don't listen, and I can't understand how you go through something like somebody like me, that I'm very thorough, and they still continue. It's like y'all be on a road of destruction and shit. So to avoid being on a road to destruction, you learn this information and you can master it, and you be surprised, because I'm sure they bless you with a creative mind, and so whatever, like out here, you people when they like you and stuff, it's a lot you can do, because you could have people help you with the clinic, the school, whatever you're gonna set up, and then you would be helping a lot of people. Because otherwise, like I said, they keep thinking they're gonna do everything by themselves or whatever they're trying to do, and all they do is self-destruct. See, everything I do is like a lot of thought, a lot of thinking goes into it. But I've been doing this for decades, so that's why I'm able to do what I do. All right. So I want to look at the number 26 one more time, but at the end of the day, the number 26 is kind of like a god. So in your 26th house, I'm thinking it's I would call it like the sexual reformation god. So again, number 26, or whatever, office manager, politician, organizer, one who organizes charitable events. Mother Teresa was born. Mother Teresa was born on August 26th. '26 can be a very compassionate number. '26 can be a communication from the realm of spirit. All right. Now it's 0 degrees again. Now this is the 9th house. Now Jupiter rules the 9th house. And you see how you got a lot of 21s? See, it's going to be karmic. And that's Saturn too. So your 9th house is very karmic. And Saturn retrograde usually is abuse, one way or another. And see that Mars, that Virgo takes you back to the 6th house. Zero degrees is the Fool. So you're almost, Jupiter retrograde wants to question beliefs. And Jupiter and Sagittarius are both about belief and religion and theology and things like that. And then Saturn retrograde could actually be the abuser. Or Saturn retrograde could be you standing up to the abuser. And ironically, Virgo is the home or healing or health. And the 9th house is anything. It could be a quarter law, it could be in-laws, it could be a foreign home, home, people out of town. And when I say home, I'm like your relatives out of town. So remember, Virgo can be the home, but Virgo is also healing. So in your ninth house, it looks like you're being told to challenge these belief systems, and also not to be afraid to challenge what you feel is abusive. And that abusive is represented by Saturn retrograde. 21 degrees, again, is the world card, which is Saturn energy. So this is karmic. Now, when you go to your 10th house, remember your 10th house is also karmic. Your medium Coeli is like your true north node. And if you notice that your true north node is another 26 degrees. So 26 degrees is kind of like saying this is God's presence or God's voice. And then your Pluto retrograde is some type of it's dealing with past life stuff and stuff going on in your 8th house. But Pluto retrograde actually takes something, but it usually takes it powerfully. And the reason why it does that so you can continue to move on. It's transforming, but it's through power. And your Lilith is at 3 degrees. So Lilith can also deal with repression, or but Lilith in the 10th house means scandal. But that's Lilith retrograde as well. But it can Lilith retrograde can mean this person dealing with repression, things that they have been hiding, and now it's going to probably start to come out. But this is all about the relationship. And so Pluto retrograde might actually take something and shake it up in that relationship, business partnership, open enemies, business, karma, the court system, the law. And remember, your Libra rules your 7th house. Cancer's in your 7th house with Juno, 25 degrees. I told you that was a law. Now, when you go to Libra, that is now in your 10th house, you're still dealing with judgment at 20 degrees. That's a judgment card. So you're still dealing with the law and judgment. And that could be Cancer energy. All right, here we go again. Now, the part of fortune at 19 degrees, that could be the sun. Still got that 15, which is still Capricorn. But Uranus is the return or the reckoning. Now, what does that mean? When you watch some kung fu movies back in the day, in the beginning of the movie, somebody get their ass kicked. So now, towards the end of the movie, last 20 minutes of the movie or so, it's time for that return. And they'll fight and fight and fight for 20 minutes or so. And hopefully by the last 7 minutes of the movie, perhaps, the guy finally wins. The movie goes off in the last 4 minutes of the credits. So, Uranus retrograde will come out of nowhere. And whenever you have Uranus and Scorpio together, you're dealing with technology, both of them. And remember, Uranus rules the 11th house because that's Aquarius. Aquarius Uranus rules Aquarius. So this is still people still dealing with freedom. People, places, associations. So your 11th house and your 8th house are kind of working together as well. And whatever's going on with your Scorpio energy, for some reason, they wanted to be connected to the 11th house, friends, association, and groups. So they may be using that to encourage you to teach. Because again, you have that's your true north node, the 8th house. 27 is the diplomat, 27 degrees. And then 26 degrees is like the voice of God or whatever. And in your 12th house, it's asking you to bring an end to your 9th house. But your 9th house is all about questioning theologies, questioning beliefs, and definitely addressing any abuse that you can address. Nowadays, the best thing two people can do is talk more. And nowadays, there's so many different ways. If you don't want to do it face to face, you can do it by email. Some people might do it on a phone. Some people might say, well, good. We'll talk about it over a meal or something. Because sometimes if we don't have anything to talk about, now we got something to talk about. So, to me, that's really, and you saw a lot of Mercury, you saw a lot of Gemini. But see, that's all about communication. Because what's going on is people don't want to talk. They just want to feel. And stuff like this is complicated. Cause like I said, you may not say certain things. Like when that female told me that she liked to be whatever. Let's say I was into that. That would have been like great. That'll be a lot of fun, you know. So, but if you don't talk, you don't know. So I gave her credit because that was a long time ago, and I had really just met her. But that's another reason why I was moving so slow. Cause like on the first date, she was already talking about shit that she shouldn't have been talking about on the first date. So I was like, no, I don't think so. Gad ain't trying to catch that package, boy. That was back in the day. I got a whole bunch of my friends went to early grades because of that package. So that communication gets it going. Even with the Kenyan, we both decided to go to the clinic. We got tested and stuff like that. And I was happy at the clinic. Because that nurse said to me, do you want some condoms? I said, hell yeah. That was back in the days when I was active. I was happy. I ain't had to buy no condoms until like a good month and a half. Oh, well, we are talking about the 8th house, so we got to put that in there. All right. So that's as much as we can go on that. Now, Let's see if they're connected. And we're still going to do his chart, don't worry. But we're going to do this right now. Ascendant. Now watch what happens. Ascendant, her ascendant is Capricorn. The Juno on his chart misses Capricorn by about 2 degrees. Or 3 degrees. 0 degrees, 1 degree, 2 degrees. So you continue. Sun and Aries. Sun and Aries. They both have Sun and Aries. And they both have Mercury and Aries. They both have Chiron and Taurus. Moon sign, Gemini. They both have the moon in the 6th house. Juno and Capricorn, Juno and Cancer, and which is ruled by Libra. And Libra is his true north node. Vertex in 8th house, which is Scorpio, with Mars and Leo. And Leo and Mars is his moon sign. True north node in Leo, his moon sign is Leo. With Leo and Mars. Pluto in Libra. Now, me personally, I would say they definitely connected, but it's like a soulmate. It's like a karmic assignment, karmic connection. But it's not. See, whenever you're dealing with twin flames, it's always going to tell a beautiful story. Now, anybody wants to know what a twin flame, two twin flame natal charts look like? I just did it. It only took 5 minutes to look at it. But they tell a beautiful story. But the main things like the vertex, Juno, and a couple other places are going to tell a story. It's not just going to be like a connection. It's going to actually tell like a story. So you can see that because it only takes took me 5 minutes to look at it and tell. All right. Let me see how much time I got on this. 2 hours, 15 minutes already. So I'm going to stop this pause. When I come back, we're going to do his. Now remember, we've already explained all the houses and stuff on the other side. We explained all the planet signs on the other side. So when we get to the side on the right, we won't explain anything else that already been explained. But if it hasn't been explained, we will. But if it's already been explained over there, so that way it's not a long drawn out video. All right, I'll be back. All right, we'll continue. Amazing. As soon as you step to his ascendant, which is also his first house in Pisces, right away. 22. So that's what I mean about these is like soulmates, and they have a karmic assignment together, whatever that assignment might be. And for things like that, that's when it's good to have the that's when it's good to have the exact birth times, because sometimes it's just too close. It's like it's close sometimes. Because like her ascendant is a Capricorn, and if his Juno was in Capricorn, then you would see it or whatever. But you will have to look at it. But right now I have to go with soulmates with a karmic assignment. So right away, the first house is in the 12th house, so which means he's like on he's on two different time zones, because he's got some in his past life that he's got to work on in the present life. But either way, that is his first house now, Pisces. And you see where Neptune retrograde is? Again, the escapist, but it's in Sagittarius. So it's things like this that let you know he's probably psychic as well. Second house is Aries, but again, that's going to be an aggressive wave concerning money, possessions, and value system. Mercury retrograde means communication problems. It's going to be hard for people to understand him, and even possibly problems with communication equipment, travel, electronics, computer. And again, you got the sun, but it's at 26 degrees is again. So this, basically he might be aggressive when it comes to possessions, his value system, and finances, but he may not be understood because of Mercury retrograde. And it seems like that's going to be karmic, because 17 degrees can be karmic because of Saturn and the number 8. But also 17 degrees is the star card, which is Aquarius energy. And if you look at his Aquarius, there's Juno, which means that he would find himself in a serious relationship with someone who is Aquarius. And again, this is in the 12th house of secrets and buildings and service and people. Fourth house is Gemini, but nothing's there. But both the third house and the fourth house are about education. Could be younger ones or teenagers, publishing, community, environment around you, family. And then in its fifth house with family, and the fifth house is like fun and family. And then it's at 0 degrees, like a new adventure. But wherever Jupiter is, it's going to deal with fortune and expansion. And it's like the Fool card or Uranus energy. And then his Lilith is retrograde, and it's a Hermit, Virgo energy. So this is the home. This is the family. And the fun part of the chart, looks like it will have some money because of Jupiter. Sixth house is ruled by Virgo. It's all about service, health, healing, small ones, small animals, small children, subordinates, co-workers. You got Mars there. And when you see Mars and Leo, you got to be careful because it could be abuse to children. Could have something to do with a competition, some form of healing. And even Mars is at 5 degrees. So we know Leo rules the fifth house. But 5 can also be Taurus energy. And sometimes 5 can mean chaos. Once again, and then you see Saturn in 23, which can also be chaos. So his home is very intense. And it's affecting him emotionally and internally because of the moon. So he would have authority issues in his home or whatever. And like I said, it could be subordinates or co-workers. Now again, in the 7th house is Virgo, which represents the home, health, or service. Home, health, service, all those things I said. Healing, small children, co-workers, subordinates. But you got the number 26 again at the vertex. So this relationship would be based on some type of home connection. And it would have some type of a spiritual effect with the number 26. Almost like something would happen, but he would perceive it as a spiritual moment. 8th house, Pluto retrograde again. Something is going to get shook up, something is going to get lost. But it's 15 degrees, still dealing with that Capricornian energy. And Pluto is saying something is going to have to be taken or shook up so that this person can move on. But again, when you have Libra in the 7th house, it could be a couple, but it could also have to do with law and or karma. And even his true north node is at 5 degrees. Which, like I said, could be Leo, could be chaos, it could be Taurus. So because of these reasons, his relationship will be kind of rocked by Pluto retrograde. So when you go to his, looks like his 9th house, you see Scorpio in the 9th house. And we already learned that Uranus retrograde is anything could happen with Scorpio in the 9th house. So let's check that out. I think they're going to say, see, whenever they put Scorpio or Gemini, and like whenever they put Sagittarius or Gemini and like around Scorpio, it has to do with getting Sagittarius or Gemini to get past their face value or whatever. They got to go deeper. All right, give me a second because somebody hit me up with a. All right. I think we get ready to do give me one moment. I just got an email I got to answer. All right. What the fuck is this? All right, come on. What is this? All right. I think this might be the first natal chart analysis I ever whistled on. If it is, that's special. But the reason why I whistled because somebody replied, oh, is this thing working? 1, 2. All right. Somebody replied to one of my prayer requests and they said wings of a dove, and I guess because I heard wings of a dove, I started whistling. All right, let's get back to it and get through it. What did I do? Scorpio 9th house. Right? They say you're very emotional. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to just tell you what it really means because I can read all that. But Scorpio, like, the 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius. And it's usually a quest for the truth. Or Sagittarius' truth. So Scorpio makes you go deep. It's watery, makes you feel it. Because sometimes a sign like Sagittarius and other signs, they don't really understand, or they intellectualize. But a water sign, especially a powerful water sign like Scorpio, will make you really feel it. So if Scorpio's in the ninth house, that's usually why. But let's look at it anyway. So they say that this person would be somewhat of a either a teacher or somebody who's kind of connected to the mysteries and belief systems and philosophy. Because when you start dealing with the ninth house or Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarius rules the ninth house, you're dealing with belief systems, mysteries, and philosophies. And as I already told you, it was in the ninth house at the chart on the left, so we won't do that again unless necessary. But they say because you're dealing with Scorpio, you may try manipulation. So this might be a person who uses their knowledge and their gifts to manipulate others, like your televangelists and people like that, who just assume you owe me. And again, when you're dealing with Scorpio, anything could happen. See, everything's in that Scorpion house. So when you're dealing with Scorpio energy in the ninth house, anything could happen. But you have to remember that ninth house also has to do with higher courts and things like that. So whatever you do, it could get found out. Like nowadays, now you got to remember what happened. I think it was Jupiter entered Scorpio several years ago. And from the moment Jupiter entered Scorpio, all these people was getting locked up and being exposed for shit they did within the last 25 years to present. So this is the nature of Scorpio. And that's why I was telling that female, I mean, she really has the potential, if she learns how to do it, is to actually benefit for all of that. Or she's just going to be typical. And, hopefully she won't be another person on the side of the road somewhere. Because that's what it boils down to. Like, you got to have more love for yourself. Like even as people, I want to be sexy. I just want everybody, I want to be sexy. Yeah, but you don't want to be stupid. Nothing wrong with being sexy, but don't be stupid. If sexy means rape or dead, then use your head. And that's what, I don't know. And I think if more men were men, we would have less of a problem with that. But most men are either weak, scared to speak up. They're scared of women, scared to speak up, or whatever. Give you a case in point. A long time ago, I was at an Asbury Park, New Jersey, on Main Street. Now, it was me, all these other guys out there. Now, they weren't really friends of mine. I hung out with one guy. They were more like his friends. They weren't really my friends. I was just hanging out with him. And so coming up the street, we were outside of the pizza place. There's a pizza shop on Main Street in Asbury Park, New Jersey, that is the main place to go to that you're hanging out or whatever. But we were just outside. And so it was guys coming up the street with all these females. A lot of females, a lot of guys. About 4 females, 4 guys, something like that. 4 or 5 females, 4 or 5 guys, or whatever. So the first thing I noticed was none of the females had on jackets. And it's getting dark, and it's not warm no more. It's starting to get cooler. So I started telling them dudes, put the jackets on. Like, put the jackets on the females. I started telling the dudes. So the dude whispered in my ear, we're trying to get the jackets off. Like, we're trying to get all their clothes off. And so I basically said to him, yeah, if you put the jacket on her, she'll willfully take off all her clothes for you. But if you're showing her you don't give a fuck about it, you ain't getting no pussy tonight. And that's exactly what I said. So all of a sudden, them females. Now remember, Asbury Park, New Jersey is the freaking hood. Okay, this is urban. This is urban. This ain't no punk. This ain't no Valley Girl bullshit. So all of a sudden, since we're talking about Uranus right now, this is why I'm trying to tell y'all to listen. All of a sudden, them girls started punching every guy that was out there in the face. Punched every last one. I'm not lying. God be my witness. Punched every guy that was out there in the face. And then they ran inside the pizza place and started punching the dudes in the face that were in the pizza place. That wasn't even with them. Now, the females did not touch me. Now, the ringleader of those females, she was this female. She was thick. So she came and laid her body in between my legs. Because I think I was sitting on the car. She laid her body in between my legs and started stroking my chain and shit. But every other dude that was out there got punched in the face. Now, why do you think them ladies didn't hit me? Because I was the only one out there that showed concern for them, and they heard everything. Women are not dumb. You may think women are dumb or whatever. Women are not dumb. Now, they're highly intelligent, but they move differently than you because they're not guys. But they appreciated the fact that I was saying, put the jacket on, put the jacket on. And for all, because women I got sisters and stuff, they got super hearing. So they probably heard him when he said that. We're trying to get the clothes off. And then they heard what I said. Yeah, if you treated them right, they will willfully take the clothes off. Stop the mind games and shit. So what I'm trying to say to anybody who hears this video tonight, learn how to make it work for you. That's what it's about. That's the secret to all this on this planet. Because otherwise what you get is most of what you see on YouTube is like people running like cattle. Oh, a new twin flame video. So 100,000 people run to. How many videos can you watch on twin flames and still not be with your twin flame? It's like idolatry. So obviously you're doing something wrong. But they're addicted to the ideal of twin flames. And a lot of other people think that your twin flames is going to answer all your problems and you guys are going to get past it and be together. And it's not like, it's just as difficult as anything else. I think it's more difficult because it's going to take maturity. Like it's like this. Let's just say you're lonely or whatever and you want to fuck. You just want to fuck. You want to touch, you want to hug, you want to kiss. Now, let's say your twin flame is at that same point in their life. I'm sick of being lonely. I just want to hug. I want to touch. I want to kiss. Or I just want it. Now, if the universe brought them two together, it would be explosive. Immediately, they'd want to do it. Just like what happened on the street. Now, I'm a guy, they come and go. Like LL Cool J back in the day, he said some girls do, some girls don't. And that's true. It's either feast or famine. Then that particular night was my night. And what was funny about that night was earlier that night, them guys was talking a lot of trash about me. Oh, you ain't got no women, blah, 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 blah. They were talking all this crazy junk. But then when we went down to the hood, they was the ones getting punched in the face, not me. So that was like one of the best nights in my life. So if you bring your two twins together under those circumstances, you're going to have great sex, great love, and it probably will grow. It probably won't go into separation because they don't want to be lonely. They want to have sex. They want to hug. They want to touch. But if you bring people together that have been in fucked up relationships, shit don't never work out. It's always a problem. These damn bitches. If you bring those two people together, it's not going to work because this guy, he doesn't want it no more. He's sick of getting hurt. He's sick of losing all his fucking money. He's sick of reaching out to somebody that's selfish and ain't going to reach out the same way. He's sick of all the drama. He just don't want it. So it doesn't matter how many times the universe brings them together. He's not ready. And then she's going to respond to how he's acting. Then she ain't going to be ready. So no matter how much the universe brings those two together, it's going to keep going into running, chasing, or some other bull. Because they're just not ready. And the crazy thing is, it's all about chemistry is what I'm trying to tell y'all. And that's why sometimes you don't understand. Because maybe you do put in time for somebody, a female or whoever. You put in time, and for whatever reason, that person keeps rejecting you. And then all of a sudden, you see her just jump into like the arms of another guy. And you're sitting there scratching your head. Like, what the fuck? Especially if you think the guy's a piece of trash. So this is all chemistry, and people are observing you the whole time. And there might be things they see, things they don't like, or they just happen to assume. But that's life. And the hard part is, this is not always easy. Because somebody says, you know what, I need to take classes. I need to take classes to become the type of guy that when a woman sees him, she automatically wants to get to know more about him. So he might do that. Go to Rico Suave school or something like that. Whatever you got to do. Like, this is not always easy. And then somebody said, well, I don't want to do all that. I just want somebody to love me for me. And it could happen, but sometimes you do have to analyze the situation, analyze yourself a little bit more. And finally, you have to ask yourself, is that something you really want? Because some people, once you get used to single life, you may not even want, that whole thing ever again. You might say, okay, listen, what I want is be able to just go out, whatever happens, then I drop that person off, and, that's it. And I don't have to call that person again unless I want to go out with them again. And if I don't want to go out with them again, I don't have to call them, don't have to worry about it. And I hope that's how it happens. But usually that's just not going to happen, And sometimes people say that, look, I don't want a relationship. Let's just go out and, have fun or whatever. But then they still, are you going to call me tomorrow? Are we going out tomorrow? And like, this is starting to seem like a relationship. I don't want that. So it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? So either you're ready for it or you're not. And I just gave you the essentials of why twin flames break up or these relationships go into separation. I just gave you the essentials. So if you were listening, you would understand. So that's why I said. Now let's go back to 2014, because I think it's more important that I give this understanding instead of just keep going over shit that's really repetitious. So let's do this first, and then we'll finish up. Let's go back to 2014. Winning Universe brought my twin flame to me. Okay, first and foremost, I didn't even know what a twin flame was. But let's say I did. Now, this time I did. We're going back. We went to see Michael J. Fox, and we got in a time machine. And now we're back at 2014. Now, let me show you how it could have went. That would have changed everything. Now, the universe is going to definitely bring us to each other. Okay, so then you find a reason to talk to the person, maybe make eye contact with them, smile a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And if it seems right that night, you could ask them a little bit more, or the next time or whatever. But you could really go out of your way to say hi to them and how you doing and boom, 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 and just show more interest in them. And then you're gonna get to whatever type of date y'all get. Now, either y'all are gonna grow at that point, or the bullshit is gonna start. You're gonna find out she's got a boyfriend or some bullshit. But otherwise, if that doesn't happen, what I call a bullshit that always seems to happen, you might start growing. Now, will it go into separation? Well, because you're experienced now, you may avoid separation because you're experienced with it. You know what not to say, you know what not to do, and hopefully it'll move forward. Now, one other thing. Many a time, at least 3 different times, I was going on a date with someone that I was just meeting, so to say. Talked to him on the phone or whatever, but I never really, not yet anyway. So, each of those 3 times, it just happened to be a female hanging out in the spot I was going. So I'm trying to show you how the world really works. Like this female said to me, the one that requested this information, she said to me, I was on a road or whatever, and ended up on some road, and it took me down to like a dead end, and the dead end was a cemetery. But that's this planet we're on, this weird ass planet we're on. So I'm trying to tell you. So 3 different times, 3 different females, and all I'm trying to do is go pick them up. Now, all 3 of those times, I pull up and I say to a female, "Are you so-and-so?" And she goes, "No." But then she offers to hang out with me anyway. Now she's offering to hang out with me. But this only happens when I'm already on a date to somebody else. Why don't that shit happen when I'm single? You know what I'm saying? Why don't that shit happen any other time? That's why we're trying to get people to wake up, think. Why is that happening then in 3 different locations, 3 different times, 3 very different females, whatever? But that always happened. I remember another time I went to 7-Eleven looking for the female. I said, and this other female was there. I was like, hey, are you so-and-so? She was like, no. But my name is so-and-so. What's your name? So now she wants to hang out. I'm like, what the fuck? So if you guys ever want to date with a female, set up a date with another female, and then somehow another female will jump up and try to take her date. Just like when you're single, nobody wants your ass. But then as soon as you get at least one girlfriend, now all the females that rejected you, all of a sudden they want your attention. So that's the craziness of this planet. And these are things you need to know so that at least you understand it better if it comes across your path. So that's why I would rather teach stuff like that, because those are things that have regularly happened. So again, you have to watch out for manipulation in the 9th house, but the main thing you have to watch out, in my opinion, for the 9th house is the higher law. And remember, the 9th house could be in-laws as well, but this is going to still be power struggles because of Scorpio energy and things like that. Anything that's in the 8th house now will be in the 9th house, but the thing about the 9th house is higher laws or foreign stuff, foreign people, foreigners, foreign speaking people, philosophy, things like that. So they say Scorpio has got to avoid being dogmatic in the 9th house, because what Scorpio may try to do is take what's, the power of Sagittarius, but use it to dominate people, bully people, and really saying it's all about me. Pay me. But really, what you should be doing is becoming more concerned about people, more feeling about people with Scorpio in the 9th house. All right. Now, we're going to jump. All right. Now, Uranus retrograde. Again, this is anything that can come out of anywhere. And if you notice that you go with that Capricorn again. See, him and her both got some Capricorn stuff going on. Because you keep your Pluto retrograde 15 degrees. Uranus retrograde 15 degrees. So that's Capricorn energy. That's the devil card. So again, anything could happen, but you got to understand what I'm saying. So like I told you. Now, nobody would have expected while we're sitting there. Just now, we're all about 4 or 5 guys just got out the car, sitting there. It looked like the 1950s Happy Days movie or Grease or some shit like that. And then them girls coming around the corner, females coming around the corner with those guys. And then that's your Uranus effect. Because all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they just start beating the guys' asses. And it had to be from the conversation. It had to be. Because they were with those guys the whole time. They never... But it was when I started going, put jackets on them, the guys wouldn't do it. And then that one guy said, we ain't trying to put no jackets, we're trying to take them off. And then they probably heard what I whispered to them. And then from then on, they started fucking up every dude. They ran inside the pizza shop. Any man that was out there got punched in his fucking face that night. And that's a true story. Except me, of course. Because I'm such a great guy. All right. So that's that Uranus retrograde. It can come out of nowhere. Anything can change. But that's why I'm trying to tell you. If you have Scorpio in the 9th house, be careful. Because one minute you could think you're balling and getting away with some shit. Because it's all about secrets with Scorpio. And the next minute you got the feds on you. The feds knocking on your freaking door. Oh, look who's in trouble now. Because remember, the 9th house is higher courts. So the state's not going to be able to touch you. Locals not going to be able to touch you. If they get involved, they're going to have to turn you over to higher. So that's why you got to know this shit. And then you got the devil card. So still messing with Capricorn energy or the 10th house energy or wherever you see Capricorn. And the devil card is about bondage. And that's incarceration as well. That's also incarceration. So now in the 11th house, we're going to do the 10th house last. Now in the 11th house, again, 21 is the world card or Saturn. And that's curious nurturing. And that other asteroid is actually in the 12th house, so we're not going to touch it. But again, 11th house. So this is like career or business or your reputation. In the 11th house, ruled by Aquarius. But this is friends, association, and groups. But you still have to be careful because of see the way they have this written, the way they have this out, especially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, especially the 9th, 10th, and 11th house are all in it together. And it's going to be explosive and emotional and all that because of the 10th house, well, because of the 8th house, but because of Scorpio. But Scorpio's in the 9th house. So all the 8th, 9th, and 10th house are going to be all shook up because it's almost the same energy. And then you see number 20 with Vesta, that is a judgment. So there may be some abuse issues because usually when Vesta shows up in the 10th house, she's combating against Saturnian or Capricornian energy, which can sometimes be abusive. And again, it's very explosive. I already said it's explosive, especially with Uranus, because anything could happen. So that's why I think why Vesta is there. And again, remember, Pallas is helping, trying to pull it together, but Pallas can be chaotic because it's 23 degrees. Neptune retrograde is going to be escapism. And then you got the whole good fortune, part of fortune, but it's 13 degrees, which is death and then resurrection. And remember, that could be any type of breakup, any type of termination from employment. It could also be any type of jail time. It's a dead-like state. So here, you want to address those retrogrades. And that's why I told you what they mean, told you what house they're in, because you want to address it. See, what everybody should try to do. We know the world's not perfect, but you can't stay in a highly Scorpio frame of action, because we're showing you on both of these charts that would be very detrimental to you. And remember, a lot of that stuff has to do with your psychological makeup, your mentality. And that's why I tell people over and over again, you have to get a grip. But see, if you wake up every day thankful and you realize that really, like I said, be glad you are in this country, be glad of the freedom, and be glad. Because otherwise you wake up and you're negative and you're mad about this, mad about that, and you're forgetting all the blessings you have. And that's how you lose them. But when you're always waking up and being thankful, you watch who you let in your life, you watch what you do, and stuff like that. All right, so Juno in the 12th house again. So this is you might find yourself in a serious relationship with somebody with a Pisces energy or Aquarius energy. And again, anytime you got Aquarius in the 12th house, it's going to be primarily about the people, the community. It might be about service or self-sacrifice. And notice how Juno was at 2 degrees, and that's kind of like the couple number. And Juno's about serious relationships. All right, so we went around both these charts, and we did look at all the points. They definitely have a soulmate or karmic assignment, soulmate assignment. But I saw nothing that would say they were twin souls, twin flames. And if you're sure, if you're still not sure what that looks like, well, I just did a 5-minute video on this channel, so it's easy to find. It shouldn't even be longer than a week long, a week and a half at the most, and it's only a 5-minute video. And I show you what points you look for and stuff like that, so you can check that video out. So that will conclude this particular video. Remember, make sure you have the most recent services offered and price list. Make sure you have your natal chart and that it's updated. Somebody else just got theirs updated recently. They waited a long time. So you try not to wait a long time, but make sure you get it updated no matter what. But they really got updated. There was a lot of stuff going on in their lives, and they really said, "Wow, I gotta address this." So you don't want to wait till it gets out of hand. The email address is in the description box for any questions and stuff like that. You could always check the channel as well too for any sales, but sometimes you just gotta contact. Sometimes the sales are there, sometimes it's not. Like this week, I'm very thankful, but I was very unbelievably busy. So sometimes I just can't get new things up and stuff like that. Like we got a super full moon that I think we're under right now. We will be at 9:43 or something tonight. I couldn't even address that too much because I've been extremely busy. But that will be the last super full moon of 2019. It's 0 degrees in Libra, which is all about relationships. All right, this is Get. You've been listening to Archangel, Revelations and Prophecies 444. God bless.